Hi everyone and welcome to FilmDirt. For this one I'm going to be talking about Superman 2. Probably both versions, both the theatrical and the Richard Donner cut. I've got a few things to say about this movie because it's got quite a story in its its development. So I'm going to try and cover my thoughts and tell me in the comments if you agree with any of my opinions. So, as the sequel to the first film, again, Christopher Reeve, I've got the same opinion. He's absolutely amazing. Couldn't have been any better casting. Very charming, but as both characters, both Superman and Clark Kent. I mean, he looks great. He's obviously put on a lot of bulk because he did look very skinny in the screen test. An actor to actually prepare for such a role, possibly one of the biggest roles in cinema. Yeah, he's one of a kind. Surely is. I mean, you can't doubt how good he was. For Margot Kidder, again, an amazing portrayal of Lois Lane, and I've got to say, there are a couple of scenes here where she does look like she's aged quite significantly, and I did read somewhere that she had a lot of personal problems in her life, and I don't want to go into all of that in this video, because I'm only going to be talking about the movie. I know, I know people have got a personal life behind their working life, and I only want to cover the movies, but she does look quite different, and there's still the same great acting, and I think because this movie was filmed, I think a year apart, because they had to get the first film done and dusted, and then I think they came back to complete the second film under a different director, Richard Lester, and in that time, yeah, she does look quite different in sometimes in the same scene where they have to edit shots together. So, but not to take anything else away from her fantastic performance, and the flying effects are also great again for the time. I mean, it looks like he's actually flying to me. But while the flying effects for the most part were great, there's some odd powers introduced, especially in the Fortress of Solitude battle at the end, where there's some strange teleportation and flying S shields, and they're just creating powers out of nothing. They're just pulling whatever they can out of the air. But it's a comic book. There's a certain degree of forgiveness I think you've got to give to a film like Superman, where how much do we account for odd powers that are introduced for convenience rather than what we know he's capable of. I mean, we've seen Superman not be as strong as he's not infinitely strong. He's not a god, although very close. He still feels pain, especially in the heart, and I think that's a message there. He's trying to live amongst the humans, and he still gets his heart broken. He's looking for a girlfriend, and he's seen Lois Lane and wants to have a relationship with a human. So let's quickly touch on the Donner cut before I give my opinions of each scene. When they had to lose a lot of the footage for Lester's version, you've got a lot of material there which is actually really good, especially the stuff in the Fortress of Solitude with Marlon Brando's performance. I mean, he's probably phoning it in, but the guy is so engaging and almost magnetic. He draws you in when he speaks. So, to leave that out is criminal. It's so much good stuff there. So I just want to touch on the theatrical cuts scenes that replaced Marlon Brando's with Susannah York's performance. The scene where he has to give up his powers. I think if you're going to edit a perfect version of Superman 2, I think it'll be a happy marriage between the two versions, both the Donner cut and the Lester cut. I'd rather have the Susannah York scenes in the fortress for when he's giving up his powers, because you'd think a mother would want to do what's best for her son and help him with his wishes. You know, he wants to give up his powers for a human's life. I wouldn't say a normal life, but the life of a human. So I think that's right that his mother would facilitate that rather than his father. However, the father helping him get back his powers later on in the film, I think that's more significant than his mother allowing that. So his mother allows him to become a human because that's what he wishes, and his father allows him to right his wrongs previously made in order to get his powers back. So I'm sure there's a fan edit out there that edits in that manner. I don't know if anyone agrees with me. I think that's the happy marriage, and get almost a complete, almost perfect version, in my eyes, is a happy marriage between the two. And whilst I like Donner's choice of scenes, you know, like revealing who he is to Lois Lane, I don't think the gunshot scene, I don't think it was very well thought out, and I preferred Lester's version. Did he really trip over that rug by accident, or did he almost have enough of keeping this secret? You know, it's probably a burden to him, and he's so desperate to have a relationship with a human that I think it was on purpose, subliminally, and you know, to show who he is to Lois Lane. I think that was a really nice moment in the hotel room. A much stronger scene, and their performances, both of them, together, they were very strong to sell that story. I mean, it's a silly story when you think about it, and he's supposed to be a superhuman being wanting to, you know, have a relationship with a human. So, you know, whilst it's a comic book story, there's some strong material there, and it takes a good actor to really sell that, and I think they both did fantastic. So, you know, Lester wasn't all bad. You know, he made some good choices. Although some of the shots, I don't think they had the grandeur of the Donner cut. I know he probably didn't have the same crew, didn't have the same cinematographer. I mean, that you can see the difference between the two sets of scenes that had each director helming them. Because the cinematographer, Jeffrey Unsworth, sadly passed away, and his style wasn't replicated, but it still looked good. I said in my previous review for the first movie, where I prefer less of a grainy look. That's my personal opinion. I find that a grainy look takes me out of the movie. I want to be immersed, and I do prefer a smoother look to the footage. And I know that there's an artistic license, and people have got different opinions on the magic of film grain and the detail it brings, but I prefer a smoother look. And I did like a lot of Superman 2 that Lester filmed. I think we can do without the odd powers at the end of the movie. I think the three villains' performances were fantastic. You know, Terrence Stamp and the big hairy brute, as he's called, and you know, and Ursa, played fantastically by Sarah Douglas, who's, although young in this movie, she's quite a huge body of work and a very experienced actress. She, in the few scenes that she had, she did look villainous, and I think it was the perfect amount of screen time for the three villains. You know, overall, I think Superman 2 is absolutely fantastic. The theatrical cut is the more polished version and the one I go to, but there's some good stuff in the Donner cut, although I don't agree with all of them. You know, I think you've got two versions of a very similar film here. I mean, you wouldn't want to choose between the two, apart from editing both together, and I'm sure that's already been done. And if anyone can recommend a version that has a happy marriage of the two versions, because I'm lost when I search, because there's so many there's so many in the listings out there. You know, please comment below, and I'd love to be able to give it a try, and I might even give a review on it. Who knows? So I've got to give this 5 stars, and that's for the whole package. That's for elements of the Lester and the Donner cut. I think each one individually would be 5 stars anyway. So overall, 5 stars definitely from me. I mean, what a fantastic film! What a fantastic experience! It's one you can always put on, and you can always cheer for the good guy and boo the villains. I mean, it's just one of a kind, and possibly never to be repeated. So, just to finish with a little bit about me, because this is a new channel, and I set up this solo channel for me to get some opinions off my chest on various new and classic old movies. And I don't get any residuals, no bonuses, no free tickets from any of the studios. Completely 100% unconnected, and I'm an unbiased reviewer of these movies. So I'll see you again for another unbiased review. It was good speaking to you about this fantastic movie. Take care. See you again.